Case number 24S01013SM. This is People of the State of Michigan versus Asante Ramsey.
Challenge on behalf of the people.
I'm going to use Ms. Fowler's word. She now is in a throuple.
Morning, Your Honor. Attorney Joseph Branson on behalf of defendant Asante Ramsey stands present in the courtroom to my right. Go ahead.
Asante Ramsey.
All right, Mr. Ramsey. Good afternoon. Good morning, I just. That one Friday. I'll send you. Right, so we're here today also for sentencing unmalicious destruction of property less than $200. That was the deduction here. I do have a report. Did you get a chance to review it with them, and is it accurate?
There are corrections that Mr. Ramsey pointed out to me. Not major things, but just for the record.
Sure.
The educational section, we would add that he had his Eagle Scout, which is in and of itself. I mean,
Wait a minute, where is that education?
educational third up bottom.
Okay, it says he went to Northwestern and didn't further his education.
Say that Scout is in education at the life skill. The other part of that is he did attend Alabama State University up through his senior year.
Okay, did he tell him? Through senior year, but you didn't graduate? Hold on.
Mr. Ramsey told me he came back to help his grandmother manage properties.
Well, why didn't you finish? I mean, even here, you're so close.
Transferred to Wayne State when I came back home, but I ended up working at Quicken Loans at the time as well. And so,
Don't they have a program up there? Quicken doesn't give you money or something if you.
Don't worry.
Some employers do.
It gets worse.
I was working
Much
going
worse.
to school full time, trying to work full time, and manage the boss. So, fortunately, I ended up leaving school setting and decided to go to the real estate. So
And
that's
you're not gonna go back and finish it all?
uh,
You're so close.
I made it.
Yeah. You can do anything online nowadays at your own pace. You owe it to yourself to finish. What is that? Was that the Crimson Tide? That's our University Elements. Oh, the Hornets down there. Okay.
The other correction would be under his employment. It has 2 state licenses for real estate, 1 here in Michigan, and also 1 in Georgia since 2018.
Okay, it's 2 state licenses for real estate, Michigan and Georgia. And what year was he an Eagle Scout?
2002.
2003.
Yeah,
That's pretty impressive. It takes a lot to get to that status.
his project is better than mine. He renovated a kid's shelter for their playroom and coordinated all the stations and everything.
Oh, wow.
But yeah,
It's
those were
Elizabeth's
our
fault.
kind of additions there. Productions.
Anything you wish to state on his behalf?
I believe that this was an isolated incident. We won't see Mr. Ramsey. I think you'll hear in his speech that he's prepared. The relationship with his grandmother led into the actions that he took. The incident with malicious destruction. He doesn't have a criminal record. He's supported today by his mother and his godmother, Katrina. He's always had someone here, in addition to his mother, supporting him. I believe last time it was his Marcel Arbuckle, helped run the Urban Youth and Development Program. While he was at Alabama State University, he marched in the band and sang in the choir for 5 years. And he's been a successful realtor here in the state of Michigan for almost 10 years now. And we would ask that court would follow patient's recommendations. Mr. Ramsey thinks the 22 weeks for anger management is spot on. I think it's a little excessive based on one-time isolated incident where his grandmother's property.
And he might be able to learn something from that.
I agree.
You know, because I get it, you know, when people die and whatever they have left, families deteriorate over that. They just fight over material things and it can be upsetting.
Exactly.
But you got to learn how to cut that. You got everything else going well for you, everything. So if somebody's driving a car, you call the lawyer and say, look, we're going to get this situation straightened out right now. But, you know, it didn't belong to you. So therefore, you can't tear it up. Tear it up if it belongs to you. Nobody's going to say too much. At least the law isn't. If it belongs to you, it's yours. But this way, no. And I think you probably looking back say, oh, I could have handled that better. But the anger management class, you know, it helps you long-term work out a lot of things, frustrations, how to deal with it. And then, you know, it helps now outside of family, at work, road rage, when somebody comes at you, because people are inclined to react. When somebody does something like that, this kind of teaches you how not to react. Because it's most of the things that we react to don't matter. When you really look back on it, it's just not worth it. And there are other alternatives that you can take that will get you where you want. Might be slower. Going to court might be a slower process than stopping that person from having the car immediately, but it's a better process and it's a legal process and you can hold their nose to it if you get what you want out of that process. So, you know, and then you could call the police because if you win and the car is given to you or whatever your resolution you were trying to get, then you can call the police on that person. Then they've committed a crime by possessing.
It does go full church service at the end. I'm not sure if I'll do that or cut it out, but we'll see when we get there.
Possessing a car that they don't own. So you got to start learning to think through things like that. You know, and I know it comes with age and you're younger, but you're old enough to have started to develop some of those, you know, skills. Okay. Anything? You can.
Yes, Your Honor. First, I wanted to confirm the restitution issue from the council before and
$560 to be paid at sentencing. That's right here.
Okay. Sure, in reply to evening. And then, Your Honor, the complaining witness, Ms. Brenda McGadney, is present in the courtroom today. She'd like to make a statement.
Where is she? Good morning, ma'am. What's your name?
Dr. Brenda.
All right. And what would you like to state?
I'm going to read my statement,
Okay.
and I hope you have a lot of patience with me.
I got plenty of that.
This is,
As long as you don't go like 45 minutes.
I've been in this court 6 times, and I've had a chance to watch you.
Buckle up. She's got a lot to say.
Today is real difficult for me. I'm almost 75, and my sister, my twin sister, is sitting in the dock. This is my nephew. My friends and family came with me today. Cousin Reverend Dr. Lewis Tate from Washington, D.C. My cousin Sheila Tate. My friend Patricia Millender. My friend Onita Jackson. And my son, Jelani McGadney, who just recently came back from living in Scotland for a number of years, and who's now chief of staff, the Democrats of Michigan's House of Representatives.
Okay.
So I'm going to read what I have to say because I've already heard some lies from my nephew, and they will be corrected. And so as I go through my states, I'll correct these lies.
Okay, go ahead.
I want you to bear with me for the sake of this fractured thing. I want to implore this court to act expeditiously if there is any outburst from my sister Glenda McGann in the form of fake crying, yelling, screaming, anger, and fainting. what she was often able to do. Judge Johnson, I'm a humble person who rarely took my own hand. I stand before you wearing many hats. I'm a mother, a sister, aunt, mentor, friend, family griot, and retired professor of social work with degrees from the University of Michigan and Chicago, residential teaching and research in the USA, Canada, and Ghana. Since my nephew did this egregious act, I have been asking myself, why would he do such a thing to his grandmother's car at this family event, September the 7th, 2024? Asante, today, this is not about making you feel comfortable. I really want my nephew to make a change. Cutting the tires on your grandmother's car was a crime and despicable. Your anger was not a single event. It was not triggered by seeing the car. This goes back several decades, and I will show this today with your own grandmother's writings. I wonder what your grandmother would say if she saw the tires slashed on her car that you probably drove, that she never let my son go. Sitting, this setting that you did this in, I don't know why you want to hurt me, your aunt, this way. Asante, you and your mother were invited to attend a family gathering to celebrate with the descendants of Alabama's infamous Wyatt Tate, my great-grandfather. There's a book written about it. 40 to 50 family members from 10 states, the oldest in their 80s, had a wonderful fellowship at the Arbor Condominium Clubhouse in Southfield. Asante, even though you arrived prior to the meet and greet, you did not stay for the gathering. Inside the clubhouse entryway, I witnessed your angry interactions with several elders.
This is like a Thanksgiving throwdown on steroids.
Before you departed, Cousin Chris Tate came in and told me you and your mom were surveilling my mother's car, taking photos and trying to open and unlock doors. That's all on surveillance camera. I did not respond. Seeing the condo videotape, I now know that your actions were premeditated and retaliatory. You sat in your car for at least 10 minutes. You left, you drove away. You came back and you parked your car in the roundabout. Condo owners saw you. They reported you to the HOA manager. And then you snuck down the sidewalk and you slashed the front tires. Then you left, you cut back. And when I say left, you left for at least 45 minutes. You came back. And then you slashed the back tires, and I could see the knife in your hand. That knife was meant for me. I understand your anger. That knife was meant for me. So, premeditated, not a one-time incident. Seems I was not the only one surprised as multiple relatives came up to me stating that you had done it. Your nephew did this. I even got a phone call from somebody in another state when I got home that night after the car had been towed, after the police report, after I had to facilitate family members who had come out of town who were at my home to get a ride home. Someone called me and said your nephew did it. I had not even seen the tape. But because of your encounter with family, they thought that you did it. So, negative encounter with people in their 80s. Your Honor, I have been thinking and thinking how my nephew, only nephew that I had, who I cradled as a baby, who I purchased his baby bed with my meager funds when I was in that doctoral program, got to this place so that I did some research as a clinically trained social worker. Maybe some of the following triggered his anger. First, Asante's anger towards me and participation in family violence stems from the fact that he was groomed to perpetuate it. As young as 11, he was indoctrinated with culturist draconian Bible teachings, especially about marriage and remarriage. Because of the divorced male partner I chose to marry, Asante was told that I was a sinner and I was going to go to hell. In an unhealthy, uncontrolling fashion, he was isolated from me and his cousin. Belief in these teachings and allegiance to his grandmother and mother led to resentment towards me and being a bad actor. Secondly, can't believe that Asante thought he had the sole authority to disperse his grandmother's assets, but he did. Without any regard for me, the daughter, he established himself with authority. In fact, immediately after I prayed over my mother's dead body in ICU, as soon as I said an amen, my nephew said without any emotions or tears, and grandma wanted me to have the little rental house down the street. I
mean, I don't mean to justify this. It's wrong. But the more she talks, the more I understand why it happened.
was utterly shocked, as was my son, who was in the room, and more importantly, my sister said nothing. A couple of days later, while planning the funeral, my nephew casually said, Jelani, which is my son, you could have grandmother's car. He gave Jelani the key. Again, he knew he was in charge, and no one, not even his mother, confronted him. Thirdly, source of Asante's anger, not against me, the fact that I was appointed by Judge Judy Hartsfield as sole personal representative for the estate of Annie L. McGatney, October 31st, 2023, 3 months after her death. The reason stemmed from the fact that I had no assistance in finding a will, which did not exist, locating assets, or paying bills. I had no assistance cleaning out her squalor house filled with all kinds of trash. Also, the judge threatened to put my sister in contempt if she continued to have outbursts and if she continued to let her son talk for her. The judge told her, she told the judge, judge asked her, why are you and your sister, your twin sister, why is this happening? Why don't you get along? This is my sister's response. She doesn't.
This is the basis for most of these issues. The presumption that other people care. I mean, we're watching it because it's funny.
Follow Jesus. And she doesn't live the life that mother taught us. Asante lied about the condition of my mother's house, but I had already given the judge photos. So he got caught and wrapped up and had no idea she was taking him down this rabbit path. She asked about the house. There were mouse droppings, there was mold, there was squalor, there was filth. Towards the end of her life, I found out from neighbors she was sleeping in her house at night. In the car, excuse me. The last thing that this judge made a decision on was something that I had kept close to my heart for probably 30 or more years. My nephew may have heard it.
Yeah, the rest of us go down rabbit holes, but they do rabbit paths over there.
For the first time, I did not know. But I told the judge about my sister's sexual impropriety, where she presented and pretended to be me and slept with a man who later became my fiance and blackmailed him into discontinuing that relationship.
And not only does she choose to be in a throuple, and she's shacked up in the bed with the throuple. Now, if anybody thinks this is okay, I am in the wrong world.
This is what I told the judge. And then the judge said,
She presented as her, and then she presented like a panda.
I've heard enough. I'm going to give you full authority. Elder abuse. My nephew wants to describe his relationship with his grandmother. I'm going to tell you what your relationship was. My mother, who kept lots of notes, and you might be familiar with this.
Pretending to be this woman would be one of the worst ways to, try to get a guy to sleep with you. That's all I'm saying.
Book, Asante, is a blue book. My mother, she started documenting how you were stealing from her in her own handwriting. And she started documenting how she, 15 years ago to this day, March the 3rd, 2015, the first thing that she saw was that she wanted to assist you. She knew you had limited education, even at age 28, limited work experience. My mother was a businesswoman. She had rental property. So what did she do? She set you up as a property manager. She mentored you. She wrote the contract out. You signed the contract December 31st, 2014. By March the 3rd, 2015, she met with you. She told you that your figures were wrong. You challenged her. You got up behind her. You acted like you were going to hit her. She describes this in this document. It was a shame for me to read this, Asante. It broke my heart. I'm searching through the house and I find my mother's words saying how much she was hurt by you. You jumped up. You're the only grandma I have. I hate to do this. If you had hurt my mother, I would have put you in jail. Because that's where you were. You physically, she was 87 years old. And you got up behind her at 28 and threatened her. And she then had to say to you and start praying out loud and say to you, I have erred. I made a mistake. My mother knew math at the back of her head. I would drive down the street and she was quoting out numbers. You, an Eagle Scout, like my son. You, Christian, baptized by Dr. Charles Adams, a member of Hartford Memorial Baptist Church. Shameful on you to lie about your stay at Alabama State. I taught at HBCU, so I know what your stay was like. No, you didn't do no senior year. It's more like 1 year. So you need to fess up to the judge because she's going to know. This blue book, the last thing I want to talk about, your grandmother put it in her linen closet. And she put $25 in different denominations. And she started documenting how you slipped in there and took money out. Slipped in there and took money out. She documented that. That's your, at 87. And then she documented how she found you in her house. And money was missing to the tune of thousands of dollars. She called the police. She did not want to report you. She called you again to come back to her. Reported it to police.
Absolutely. This is a court festivus.
Would not indict you so you wouldn't be arrested. How despicable you are. My uncle, who's in his early 90s, what did he say to me? You're not falling far from the tree. You and your mother are in the same boat. No weapon formed against me will prosper. What you have done to me, and I'm going through now. My son is back from Scotland. What you have done to us and your mother as a family, and no apology, because your only apology was going to be made conditionally. You're going to answer to God.
Okay. I sure appreciate your statements today and you're bringing this all into context from the family and your perspective. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Is there any statement that you wish to make before I pass sentence?
Absolutely, Your Honor. I'm going to read statements here. That's okay.
Sure.
And in my possession here, I have over 20 some odd cards from my grandmother written to me from my birthdays, Christmas, Easter, throughout my entire life, up until the day that she passed, or the month of year that she passed, and even in the years throughout all my life. So 15. My time. And I'll read one of those cards. This letter is from Dr. Melvin Bell. She is my godmother, but also was a confidant to my grandmother and also was considered a secondary daughter to me. This is a character reference for Asante Ramsey. Your Honor, I am writing to offer a heartfelt character reference for Asante Ramsey, whom I have known since his birth. Over the years, I have had the pleasure of watching Asante grow to a caring, responsible, and thoughtful young man. As a close family friend and his godparent, I have seen the values instilled in him and can genuinely attest to his character. Has consistently shown himself to be someone who cares deeply about others. He is an active volunteer, regularly dedicating his time to youth in missionary settings where he is committed to setting a positive example. Through his involvement in these activities,
Missionary settings.
he encourages young people to make good choices and live responsibly. His selfless attitude also extended to his late grandmother, who relied on him heavily for support. Asante frequently assisted her with various tasks, from running errands, handling household chores, to advising her on personal matters. She often spoke to me about her gratitude for his reliability and the comfort of having someone like Asante to count on. I have spoken with Asante at length. He fully understands the gratitude of his actions, acknowledges his error in judgment, and deeply regrets any pain or disappointment he may have caused his family. This incident is truly uncharacteristic of him. It does not reflect the person he is or the values he upholds. Asante has shown a level of self-awareness and remorse that demonstrates his commitment to making amends and learning from his experience. I humbly request that the court show leniency in this judgment. Asante's actions in this case are an isolated incident, not a pattern. He recognizes his mistake and is eager to take steps towards positive change. I am confident that with this opportunity, Asante will prove himself to be the responsible, dependable person I have always known him to be. Thank you for your consideration to this letter, Mayor. Next, I will read a letter that I wrote. These are of my words. My name is Asante Ramsey. I'm a distinguished Eagle Scout of Troop 647, Harper Memorial Baptist Church. I'm also a distinguished licensed realtor in the state of Michigan and Georgia. I also have held a license in the state of Alabama. I'm a dedicated community activist, a loving son and grandson, and a dear friend to many across the world. I take pride in my roots, and I'm a product of the Detroit public school system, and I attended Alabama State University for up to 6 to 7 years. But above all, I am a grandson who loved his grandmother beyond words. For her loss shattered me in a way that could never be repaired. She wasn't just my grandmother. She was my foundation. She was my mentor. She was my best friend. She was a woman of faith. She was a beacon of strength who lived by unwavering principle, high morals, integrity, and unshakable belief in doing what is right, even in the face of adversity. She always gave glory, honor, and praise to Jesus Christ. She raised me alongside my mother to be a man of honor, high morals, and integrity. She taught me right from wrong, value of respect for my elders, my peers, my community, and all of humanity. It was my grandmother who taught me how to ride a bike, how to drive a car, how to cut grass, how to paint, how to count my money, how to save it wisely. She taught me how to dress like a man, dignity, how to carry myself with respect, how to navigate the world with purpose. She sold me my first car. She sold me my first house. She invested in me in ways that I will never be able to repay. She even paid for my first 2 years of college cash. There are no words to describe what we had. She trusted me not just as a grandson, but as her confidant. She shared her secrets, her wisdom, fears, her strength. For 36 years, until the day she passed, I was there for her, without question, without hesitation. She called and I answered. Even when she didn't call, my mother and I were still by her side. She taught me the real estate business, molding me into the man I am today. For over 30 years, I worked alongside her, shoveling snow, cutting grass, sanding floors, painting walls, fixing leaks, pulling permits, cleaning and maintaining her property. If she needed something, she called us, me and my mother. She lost something, she called
He's
me,
on a roll.
and my mother. When she got stuck in her car at a gas station on Glenwood and Davidson, she called us. When she needed something to move heavy items, when she wanted her voicemail listened to and written down, she needed dirt sprayed in her yard, she called us. But Brenda, she was absent. She only showed up with my grandmother Becky. My grandmother did not trust me. And it was obvious. Their broken relationship was built on years of broken trust. Brenda told my attorney, found a letter from my grandmother falsely accusing me of abuse. Me, the one who cared for her, loved her, protected her. Anyone who truly knew my grandmother, I mean truly knew her, knows she would never tolerate any abuse, any stealing, any theft. She would not tolerate. She would never stand it, whether it was from her own blood or anyone outside. She believed, if she believed I had hurt her in any way, she would have cut me off completely. She would have never spoken to me a day. But she did, because it never happened.
That
A month
inspired a
after the
weed paddock.
funeral, Brenda sent us an envelope, signed with cards from family and friends, filled with money meant for me and my mother. But every card had already been opened, funds were dispersed, funds were disturbed, altered. To add injury to insult, Brenda mailed it using my grandmother's return link, trying to make us think that my grandmother herself had sent us some items from beyond the grave. Brenda still owes us funds for the funeral. She never paid us for the complete portion of the funeral cost. Even after even after agreeing to the cost, receiving invoices and receipts for the services rendered, paid in full by me and my mother. Brenda's, she never paid. She never sent us in for the completion of what she owed. And I want to speak on one thing because I know my mother cannot speak for herself at this time. And that is Brenda has accused my mother of sleeping with the man that she once was with 30, 40 years ago. This is a man that we never knew of, no one's ever heard of. Speaking with my mother, come to find out that the man actually, I don't want to use this word, but he raped, he violated. He had a fetish for twins and used my mother while Brenda was gone and away on a trip, and assaulted my mother, attacked her. And she confronted Brenda about this, but Brenda did not believe her. This is where a lot of this is stemming.
I didn't catch the fetish for twins bit. Oh, good Lord. Here we go.
From what Brenda has said herself. There's so much more I could read into, but I will end here. And I'm sorry, I will say one other thing too. My grandmother did express to me one of her secrets that she told me that while I was a child, Brenda was holding me.
I mean, is that even a fetish? Like, presuming they're identical, if you like one, you probably like the other, right?
She was having an argument with my mother and intentionally tried to drop me as a baby. And because of that, that's another reason why my mother and Brenda had their dislikes and disagreements. In my grandmother's final years, she did not allow Brenda access to her home because she did not trust her. And in retaliation, Brenda reported her to the Adult Protective Services, claiming she was unfit to breathe alone. But my grandmother was independent, strong, capable, cooked for herself, still driving at 94, still balancing her work. And Brenda's lies could never erase it. My grandmother would be devastated that our family has issues, disagreement, that have brought us in front of a judge yet again. Brenda has put a case against my mother in 2015 for assault. The case was dropped. She accused my mother of body stabbing her.
Give him the hook.
My grandmother made me come to that case and sit front row with her. And she was devastated. She was heartbroken. Because Brenda stood there and accused my mother of attacking her in front of 20, 30 people on a bus. And the judge deemed that didn't happen. Dismissed the case.
Excuse me, it was that.
So, ma'am, no, you don't. No.
Judge.
Let me say something.
I know.
Everybody has their chance to speak. You have no right to lash out and disrupt these proceedings. You're in debt. Do what you're going to find.
We already listened to you, Bish.
Go ahead.
Brenda has twisted my grandmother's documents, distorted financial agreements decades ago, falsely accused my mother of unpaid debts that were settled years ago, and is accusing me of unpaid debts that have been settled as well. She has tarnished my grandmother's legacy by going against her final wishes. She even had the audacity to blame me for my grandmother's death. And despite it all, my mother and I still showed her kindness. We opened our home to her during the funeral planning. We showed her love, even when she gave us nothing but betrayal in return. My grandmother would be devastated at this time. Our family business is in public display. It's part of public record for the world to see. I take responsibility for my part in putting my family in this position. To the court and to the McGann family, I apologize for my action. I am grateful for this opportunity to speak. I accept my consequences. I accept my sentencing. I will never accept the lies, betrayal, or the destruction of my grandmother's legacy by any. She deserved better, and so sincerely, it's not to me. Before I end here, I just want to read one card from my grandmother. This card was dated in 2014. Dear Asante, thank you for my lovely cards, birthday, Mother's Day, and the birthday gift. It's great. Greatly appreciate it. I love and appreciate it much. Your grandma. At the bottom, she said, I need you to help me with some locks. She's talking about versions. And this is just a plethora of cards.
A plethora.
over the years, and I had even more. I just didn't want to bring them all into the court to show proof that my grandmother loved me beyond words. She called on me more times than I can even think of. And there's no way that I would have ever assaulted her or done anything to put her in any position. If I did, she would have never let me be around her on any basis. She trusted me to the very end. And when I mean to the end, she trusted me so much, and Brenda trusted me so much that created her obituary. This is the obituary that I helped create. Good 85% of this. Brenda put the words here. She did put the words here. Jelani did help as well. He helped assist as well. But the meat of it, the creation, the coloring, the meat of this was created by myself. And this is what my grandmother was like. She's about integrity, about honor. Thank you.
All right, let's give that the slow, sarcastic golf clap it deserves.
People wish to be heard.
No, Your Honor, I believe both statements really have been really, the reason why we're here, Your Honor, is this malicious destruction of property case.
It's way bigger than that.
Correct. And for purposes of the sentencing, again, this is for the malicious destruction of property. If people do not have any objections to the PSI, we do ask the court to follow it.
You can have a seat. This is, from what I've heard today, and it's sad because I'm looking at a beautiful woman who everybody has said is a woman of God. And I agree with something that Mr. Ramsey said, and that is that I would think that she would be mortified to see how her family, her precious family, has broken down. No mother ever wants to see that. No woman that's a mother wants to feel it, and no woman wants to leave this earth knowing that her children are just not all right with each other. Nobody wants that, especially not a woman of faith like this lady appears to be, like everyone has said she is. And the sad part about it is, this is way bigger than malicious destruction of some tires on a car. This is a family in total crisis. You people are in court airing grievances that are very deep grievances. Going from what happened with your birth to somebody supposedly dropping you on purpose or trying to grown sisters fighting over a guy and what happened there, to whether or not Miss Brenda believes in God and has been outcast based upon that. If all of you are faithful Christians, and I believe that you are in some ways, you need to get back into your scriptures, every one of you. You need to learn the heart of forgiveness, for one thing. Nothing that you have ever said to any of you on each other matters. Nothing negative matters. It's about the love and the respect and the caring that this lady here apparently fostered with her family, grandson included. You can't make me believe that she did not love him. She did not love the twins and all the members of her family. And I'm stuck being in the middle of this, a place that I don't belong. But I'm here simply because you all cannot get together and just repent of all of the sins and ask for forgiveness of each other. It should start today. What better day? Do you want to keep living like this? Do you want to keep fighting over material things that belong to Miss Annie? Or do you want to live your life in the way she would have wanted it to have occurred, which is to exude some love and some understanding and to figure out how you each got to this point? That's what y'all need to be trying to do. Because when it comes down to it, all you got is yourselves into the future. And this type of deep-seated, I don't know if it's, I can't say it's hate, but it's a deep-seated misunderstanding that has hurt everybody's heart. I can see that. The defendant seems to be hurt. Brenda seems to be hurt. Her sister back there seems to be hurt. And how do you fix a hurt? You don't let it just bleed out. You go to the hospital. The hospital is your church. You consult the doctors. The highest God on earth, in the heavens, is your doctor. And all the angels around you are your nurses. Go back to what you were taught, what you know, what you feel. The devil gets busy on this earth. That's what I know. And he's busy in this family. Are you going to not stand up and fight for what's right, what's Christian? Or are you just going to let him tear you apart over nonsense? You weren't raised this way. You loved each other. You probably still do. It's so deep down under all this mess that it can't rise to the surface. And love doesn't die. It's just buried under so much mess that it can't rise back to the surface. Now, I
really need my church lady Satan clip for this.
to see you up here.
I failed you. I was unprepared.
Not you. Her. What's the twin sister? Here. Come on. Come on, ma'am. Come on. You can do it.
Be a little gentle with my money.
He's very gentle. What do you think I'm here to do?
I understand. I'm just.
No, you need to just sit down and listen for a minute. Come on up, man. It's going to be fun.
I have two sisters. We get along great.
Come on. I got you. Got you. It's okay.
5 minutes older, so I'm taking my time.
That's okay.
Please.
What's your name? You're just this twin. I haven't gotten your
Security card. My middle name is May. It's spelled M-A-E.
Okay. You go by May? You go by May? Okay, Miss May. I appreciate you being here. And what I want to say to you both, come up next to your sister. This is your God-given sister. Please look at each other. Please look. I know it's hard. Please look. God put me in this position. I don't know that I was supposed to, I don't even know I was supposed to get here, but I went through a lot to get here. And so he uses me in many ways that I can't fathom. And I sure didn't know this was going to happen today, but I'm going to be used to try to start a healing in this family.
You train his love to
each other, you
station.
sisters. Look and remember the beautiful things. Look at me. Look at each other in the eyes. Remember the beautiful things you know about each other. Remember in the womb how tight you and close you were.
I got kicked out.
Well, you got kicked out first because, but you came out
You remember those womb memories.
with a mother that loved you. You two just remember this. No matter what has happened over the years, you need to let it go. Both of you. Let it go. It's hard, but let it go. It's okay to be emotional. It's okay to cry. But let it go in the name of your mother and the faith that she had in her family to do the right thing. This is supposed to be a sentencing of your son, your nephew, who it appeared to me your aunt cares about you, whether you see it or not. I heard it. The very only nephew she's got. The very one she loved from the beginning, the very one she bought the first things for. That relationship slightly deteriorated, but it doesn't mean it's done. I don't know what has happened between the two sisters here that has made it kind of difficult, that one feels that the others are against them, and you feel religion has something to do with it. And I know you're hurt because you are being accused of something with an old boyfriend. Let that all go. God knows your truth. God knows the truth. And that's all that really matters. So you two are going to have your faith of the mustard seed and your beliefs in God and beliefs in your scriptures to come back together. You know, whoever the guy was that did whatever he did, it's unfortunate if he did what your son reported happened. And it's unfortunate if he did that because he was ill. And I don't know, ma'am, don't shake your head because you really don't know what happened. You weren't there. You've heard and you have an opinion. You're entitled to that. But just don't shake your head because you're discounting something that she might have gone through.
Ill or just kind of horny?
And no one wants to be discounted that way. No, none of us are any better than any of the other of us. But I'm trying to get you both to see how beautiful this family was and still can be if you kind of just let go of everything. And it's so deep that you got Mr. Asante here reacting for something crazy to me about a vehicle. It's a material thing, Mr. Asante. In the scope of things, it matters to you because it belonged to your grandmother, but it's not what really matters. What really matters is what she would have wanted, and she would not want anybody in jail over this. She would not want this family to deteriorate because of some material things that she had. And I don't know what happened, if she wrote a letter, if it was in her handwriting, but it was pretty clear she also loved you too. I don't know what happened. But you all have to, she's not here. She can't fix this. She's gone. And she's in a place that hopefully you all will get to if you start to change your ways. You can't get there by harboring this anger and this malice and resentment. You have to honor each other. That's the only way you're going to get where you want to be. Ultimately, and that this is just a short pass through that we got, that we see everything here that really matters, and it doesn't. Where you will spend your eternity is what matters. And do you follow your scriptures? Do you try to be the best people that you can be? Are you honoring each other? Are you trying to work out your differences? Have you repented, all of you, about this situation? Because God knows we're not perfect. And we're entitled to some missteps. But as long as we recognize that and we ask for consideration because of them, we should all still be fine. So you are all fine if you try to repent and say you're sorry just about the circumstances. So you said it once. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Sante. Please stand. Look at your aunt first. You look at your nephew and you tell her you're sorry about the circumstances between the family and what you want to do to make sure that going forward, this family thrives in the way that your grandmother would have wanted. Go ahead.
Circumstances. Put in for the family and pour out my best to the missions.
Are you accepting of his apology? Look at him.
Sandy is your aunt, not woman. That's your aunt, not woman. I accept your aunt. That's your aunt.
What's the difference between the aunt and Brenda?
Because Brenda, he's never called me that, except the last time I think he called me by my first name. before Judge Hartsfield.
Okay.
I've never heard.
Well, ma'am, he's in court. He can't call you. Quote, aunt.
Call me.
Okay.
So it's.
Do you mean disrespect
I do.
by calling her name? Okay. Come on. Together. Put that down. Walk to your nephew. Nephew, walk to your aunt. Hug her. Hug him back. In the name of Jesus, we have done something here today. Now that needed to be done. You needed to feel each other. And that doesn't fix it totally, but it's a start. Now, you look at your mother.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
First of all, Mom, thank you so much. I love you. Always like anything, any discussion that I'll ever. Anyway, put our family knowledge with it.
Okay. She forgives you too. Come on up, Miss Brenda. And Miss May. All right. Now, put your thing down again. I want you to stand over to your sister. And I want each of you to hug each other.
Ever so slow.
Slowly is fine with me. Just get there. And hold that hug. Hold it. Hold it. Feel it.
Either the other arm or just one.
Well, she has a purse on that. We'll forgive her for that. Hopefully, this is the beginning of something fresh and new for this family. That wasn't hard. Was it hard for you to hug your sister?
No.
Was it hard for you really to hug your sister? Was it hard for you to hug your mother and your aunt? Okay. So is it going to be hard for you to get past any of these issues with your grandmother? Is it? Will it be hard for you to get past all of the issues with your sister and your mother and your nephew?
Yes, it will. That's why.
Will you do the work?
Yes.
Will you continue?
There.
Will you continue? Well, you seemed a little upset today.
Yes.
Now, guess what? That's okay.
Yes.
Now, will you let that go? Because that's what you have to do. You can be upset. You got to release it. You can't keep harboring this. Can you do this work? Yes or no?
Yes.
Will you do this? Come on.
Yes.
Okay. Will you do the work to mend your relationship with your sister?
Yes.
All right. And all the rest of the family that's out here, very, very, very unusual for me to do this, but I want you to all stand too. Will you all support these three as they do the work to try to mend this rift with this family? And will you support them no matter what and not take sides, but try to be that reasonable voice in the middle?
Oh, this is happening.
And will you do this no matter what? Okay. Thank you all. Okay. All right. Everybody can take a seat. Come on over with your look. It's the first church service I've ever had in the courtroom. But it seemingly needed to be because this is a family of faith. And this is a Christian family. And sometimes God has to be in the system too. And this is one of those instances. And I don't regret it. Bringing him forth. Because I'm going to tell you, this is true. This is 22 years old. It's faded. And when I got here, my first day, I stuck this in front of me so I never forget. What does this say? In the name of Jesus. It's all faded because of these lights over 22 years. So I carry my belief with me and my faith every day. And that's how I work with people. That's how I feel people's emotions. I've got a nice God-given gift for that. I don't know how I ended up here because it wasn't what I planned to do. But it's been a great journey because I've had opportunities to help people help themselves.
I'm good at this, and doggone it, people like me.
themselves, mend their issues. And this is the biggest one I've ever had to try to do. So I'm here. You're here for a reason. And hopefully this is the beginning of something fresh. I'm going to also end this beautiful, which everybody did a great job on this, obituary back.
Thank you for that.
Okay. So it's going to be the sentence of the court. Based upon everything that I've heard, I think there's some healing that you need to do as well, Mr. Ramsey. I think you're capable of doing it. I think anger management is going to start. But I'm going to also order some mental health counseling. I think you will do well with it. All of this stuff is so deep-seated. Force them to go. All of y'all need to go. You do. And then you need to go probably when the therapist tells you as a group. But we're going to start with you right here today so that you will be led in a way, hopefully by whoever you counsel with, to start to break these demons down, to start to understand what had happened and to get your faith right back where none of this ever happens again. And each one of you have to hear your grandmother's voice in all of this. Grandmother, mother, auntie, whoever she is to you in all of this as you move forward. So sentence of the court is going to be for 12 months of probation. You can ask to be released from probation after 6 months if you believe that you completed everything and benefited. There's a form you can fill out. Probation will update me as to your compliance level. They will also give the prosecutor an opportunity to weigh in, and if she disagrees with early termination, then we would actually come back and have a hearing as to whether or not you should be released early. If she doesn't disagree, and I think that you're ready, would just dismiss you on paper after 6 months. If you have not finished paying your fines and costs, we can give you a payment arrangement for that, but we can release you from probation. All right. So it's 12 months right now with $480 of oversight fees, fines and costs of $350, jail 1 day, credit for 1 day. You're going to do 3 days community service at a nonprofit agency. I'm going to order some mental health counseling. Somebody to just talk to about these things that are dug deep down inside. No alcohol, of course, and unprescribed drugs. They will be testing for that. Right now, usually I do no contact with the complaining witness. I'm not going to do that in this case. I'm going to say no assaultive contacts. So no assaults, no threats to her, nothing to any property that she has. But I want you all to be in a position as you go through an epiphany, hopefully you will have with how to handle some things, that you will have a relationship with Miss Brenda Faye McGadden. So no assaultive contact. Maintain your job. You'll take the 22-week anger management class, of course. Pay a $75 statutory crime victims fee and a $100 PSI fee. All right. So that is going to complete the court sentence. The restitution has already been paid. All right. So we're going to have you go down to probation today, and they'll check you in and make sure that you have an appointment, and they'll let you know what to do to get started, with your orientation here. Okay. Mm-hmm. Do you have it set?
Already got the interview.
There's another one
Oh, okay.
that they're going to set with you to tell you how to respond and how to report.
All right.
Okay. All right. And that completes the sentence of the court. May peace be with this whole family.
And also
So
with
is
you.
there a way to ask for the most minimum invasive testing schedule for drugs and alcohol?
You talk to probation about it, and if it's something that you just think he cannot do, then you can certainly bring it back to me. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Carter, this, Dr. McGinney did present to me her impact statement as well from the things she was talking about. She's asking me to put it in the file.
Sure. I guess we can.
There you have it. There you have it. That's Alyssa's fault. She sent it to me. And by the time I got done watching it, I thought that was so painful I need to subject my chat to it. It was very therapeutic for me to watch you guys go through all the same emotions I had. Sorry, but it was 100% Alyssa's fault. Thanks for coming out.